Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome to our class in this WhatsApp group. And I hope you have been taking care of yourselves and doing fine. In this difficult situation that we are facing, I feel that we need to take the advantage of the technology and try taking some lessons. Therefore, this evening, let us continue. Try to complete the chapter 1, and I will be dealing with the classification of an economy based on employment conditions. Just a quick recap what we have done so far. We were looking at the sectoral classification of an economy. If you remember, classification of an economy into sectors is done based on number A, economic activities, then number B, if you remember, it is employment conditions, and number C is ownership. This is just to remind you once again. So this is how we have seen that classification of economy is done. Number A, economic activities. Number B, employment conditions. And number C, ownership. You will remember that we have already completed the classification based on economic activities. That is primary, secondary and tertiary sectors. We have already done this, right? That is, we have 3 of them, that is primary, secondary and tertiary sectors. Now, let us look at classification based on employment conditions. Before we do that, I want to take you back to the time when Prime Minister Modi announced the complete lockdown of the country, national lockdown, on, I'm not very sure about the date, but somewhere in the end of March, so abruptly and without warning. We have witnessed so much of chaos for more than 2 weeks. I think you must have seen it on the television, what had happened. We have seen hundreds and thousands of migrant workers stranded, and some trying to get to their homes, walking miles, since all the communications came to a standstill due to national lockdown. At last, government had to arrange alternative to stop the chaos. Of course, now also many migrant workers are still stranded, but somehow the government is trying to give them the relief, and the people in the area are trying to help them. So in a way, I think a little bit settled, we can say, but of course, problem is still there. Now, why I'm bringing this up is that I want to ask this question: who are these migrant workers? If you look at them, that they are mostly casual workers, workers in the construction site, then also those who are laborers, then working in the restaurants, hotels, maids, etc. There are so many of them. And you know, these people they are the ones who are working in unorganized sector. So, today we are going to learn about the second classification of the economy based on employment conditions. So, based on employment conditions, we have two So you can say that employment somehow it's not working. Employment conditions. We have two, that is organized sector and the other one is unorganized sector. So today we are going to look at these two, organized and unorganized sector. Now, let us see what is an organized sector. So, if you look at the book, you can go through the book and see what is an organized sector. I'll just quickly say the definition. That this sector covers those enterprises which are registered by the government and have to follow its rules and regulations. Let me say it again. This sector covers those enterprises which are registered by the government and have to follow its rules and regulations. For example, you can say that Reliance Industries Limited, GAIL, etc. Okay, so those who are, registered by the government and also follow the rules and regulations, whatever rules and regulations are given and they are following that, then all those sectors will come under organized sector. Now, then what is an unorganized sector then? So now let us see, unorganized sector, it includes those small and scattered units which are largely outside the control of the government. Though there are rules and regulations, but they are never followed here. Yes, of course, rules and regulations are there, but normally they are overlooked. They are not properly followed. You know that small units, they are not under the control of the government. So they are all coming under unorganized sector. For example, you can say that who are in this unorganized sector? Casual workers, as I was mentioning earlier about the migrant workers. So casual workers in constructions, then people working in the shops, then various artisans, then also the maid, those who are working in the house as a maid, they are also coming under this unorganized sector, and there are many more. You can look at the book and see who are those. It is mentioned even in the book. So you can see, for example, street vendors, garment makers, rat pickers, etc. Those who are working in the urban areas in such units, they are all coming under the category of unorganized sector. Now, we have already gathered what is organized sector and what is unorganized sector. Please, you have to remember that organized sector, they have to register, they are registered by the government and have to follow its rules and regulations. This is very, very important point. Okay, so have to follow its rules and regulations. Whereas unorganized sector, they are largely outside the control of the government. That means they are not under the control of the government. Of course, there are some set of rules and regulations for them too, but usually what happens is that they are overlooked. That means they are not followed properly. So those kind of units, they come under unorganized sector. So I believe that you have understood what is organized sector and what is unorganized sector. Now coming to the working conditions, employment conditions, or how do they work? How do these organized and unorganized sector work? Now let us look at the working conditions of these two. Now let us first look at organized sector. Now organized sector, as you can see, they enjoy security of employment. Sorry, my pen is not working properly. Okay, I will not write, you just listen, okay? Because all the pens are not working, I'm sorry about that. Enjoy security of employment. So, working conditions in organized sector I'm talking about. Enjoy security of employment. That means they have the assured work. When I say assured work that means they don't have to worry anymore that their work is already been assured. Kind of a permanent, right? So this is what they enjoy security of employment. Then also they're expected to work only for a fixed number of hours, right? In the organized sector, number 2 point can be they are expected to work only for a fixed number of hours. If work more, they are paid overtime. This is what you can expect in the organized sector. Okay, so that means 6 to 4 means they have to work 6 to 4 or 9 to 4, so they have the fixed hours. Say sometimes work demands, then they have to stay more, okay, for few more hours. What is happening here is that they'll be paid overtime. So this is the benefit that they will get when you're working in the organized sector. Then thirdly, also enjoy benefits like provident fund, gratuity, paid leave, medicinal or medical benefits, and pension after retirement. Such kind of benefits that you will get when you are in organized sector. Let me repeat again. They also enjoy benefits like provident fund, gratuity, paid leave, then medical benefits and pension after retirement. So all these benefits the people who are working in the organized sector will get. Paid leave, when I'm talking about paid leave, basically what happens is that if you work in the unorganized sector, if you are absent for a day or 2 or 3, then your wage will be cut. You will not get the wage for those days where you are absent. However, in the organized sector, you will be paid even if you are absent. Okay, so that is leave paid, and also all the medical facilities that you will be getting. Somebody sick in the family or you're sick, then you will be getting you will be getting the money for that as well. So all those benefits that you will be getting, and once you are retired, you are entitled to have the pension. So this is what you will get in the organized sector. Then fourthly, various laws like Factories Act, Minimum Wage Act, Payment of Gratuity Act, Shops and Establishment Act, etc. are strictly followed here. Of course, it's not there in your book, but I'm just giving you the extras. So that means they are under various laws like Factories Act, Minimum Wage Act, Payment of Gratuity Act, Shops and Establishment Act. So all these are strictly followed in the organized sector. So these are some of the points of the working conditions of the organized sector. Now coming to the unorganized sector. Now what is the difference? And normally the question always comes, write the difference of working conditions in organized and unorganized sector. That is why I'm giving you in points so that when the question comes like this, you can also answer. So please note down the points, right? You can, if you cannot do it now, you can always ask me. I can give it to you later as well. So unorganized sector. Number 1 point can be do not have any job security. So in unorganized sector, what is happening is that they do not have any job security, means you can be terminated anytime if you are not wanted. Or if the employers are not happy with your work, then you can be terminated from the work. So there is no job security as such. The job is not assured for them, right? So this is number 1 point. This is the opposite of the organized. We have already seen that in organized, they enjoy the security of employment. Whereas in unorganized, they do not have any job security. Then coming to the second point, there is no fixed number of working hours. The workers normally work 10 to 12 hours without paid overtime. We have already seen that this is in the organized sector, they enjoy this. You know, they have the fixed working hours. If it is 9 to 4, it will be between 9 to 4 only, not more than that. Or if they have to work overtime due to some emergency or work overloaded, then they will be working overtime. But remember, in the organized sector, they will be paid overtime. Whereas in the unorganized sector, there is no paid overtime. They may be asked to work more than what is required, because you have to remember that there is no fixed number of working days for them, right? No, working hours. So it can be from 10 to 12 hours also, you know. They have to work till 10 to 12 hours as well, but there will be no paid overtime. Then coming to the third point, they do not get other allowances apart from daily wages. No other allowances. We have already seen that in the organized sector, they're getting so many benefits, right? Like medical benefits, pension after retirement, provident fund, gratuity, paid leave, etc. Whereas in the unorganized sector, they do not get this kind of allowances, except or apart from the daily wages. Or whatever hours they're working, they'll be getting for that. That's it. So this is the difference between the organized and unorganized. Then fourthly, government rules and regulations to protect the laborers are not followed. As I have already mentioned earlier, when we are talking about the organized and unorganized sector, we have already seen that there are rules and regulations even in the unorganized, but they are seldom practiced or they are seldom followed. So here you can see that no government rules and regulations to protect the workers or laborers, and they are never followed. Okay, even if it is there, they are not followed. So you can see that it is the whims and fancy of the employers. They can do whatever they like. So this is the difference between the organized and unorganized sector, their working conditions. Okay, so if you are to answer the questions for the differences between the working conditions between the organized and unorganized sector, so these are the points. Let me repeat again. Organized enjoy security of employment, whereas unorganized do not have any job security. The number 2 points is that they are expected to work only for a fixed number of hours. If more work or if work more, they are paid overtime. Whereas in unorganized, there is no fixed number of working hours. The workers normally work 10 to 12 hours without paid overtime. Then coming to the third point, they also enjoy benefits like, that means in organized sector, they enjoy benefits like provident fund, gratuity, paid leave, medical benefits, and pensions after retirement. Pension after retirement. Whereas in unorganized sector, they do not get other allowances apart from daily wage. Then coming to the fourth point, various laws like Factories Act, Minimum Wage Act, Payment of Gratuity Act, Shops and Establishment Act, etc. are strictly followed. Whereas in unorganized sector, government rules and regulations to protect the laborers are not followed. So this is where we can see the differences in the working conditions in organized and unorganized sector. Now, do you know that there are about 47.41 crore workers in the country in 2011 and 12? I repeat, there are about 47.41 crore workers. It is there in your book, you can look at it, in the country in 2011 and 12. Out of them, 39.14 crore workers were working in the unorganized sector. Now you can see that. So many of them are in the unorganized sector, especially here in India. We are talking about India. So you can see that 39.14 crore workers were working in the unorganized sector in 2011 and 12. Please remember that. The year is 2011 and 12. I don't know how it must have increased now. Now we are already in 2020. So we are looking at the data from 2011 and 12. So you can see that there are a lot of people working in the unorganized sector. Now when we are talking about these people who are working on unorganized, they are also get exploited by the employers. I think the question is there in your book. If you look at the back page to the exercise, question number 4, long answer type questions. Workers are exploited in the unorganized sector, give reasons. So let me concentrate on that. Workers are exploited in the unorganized sector, give reasons. So now you can see that, as we have already seen, that people who are working in the unorganized sector are also, and not only that their working conditions are worse than the organized sector, but they are also get exploited. Okay, so you can see that the lenders, that means the people who are giving money to them, there is no regulations on the lenders in the unorganized sector. That means you can see here that money lenders, they can exploit the farmers in any manners, because there is no law as such for them. That means for the lenders. Who are the lenders? Lenders are the ones who are giving or giving anything. It can be money, it can be something else, but those are the lenders. Okay, so there is no rules for them. I mean, no regulations on them in the unorganized sector. That is why they really exploit the farmers. Okay, farmers are exploited. How? You can see, charging very high interest rates and also manipulate accounts. You see, they help them, of course, they give them the money, they lend them, but at the same time, because there is no regulations on them, so what they're doing is that they are charging very high interest rates, maybe more than what the bank is taking. Of course, when we take a loan from the banks, we also have to pay interest for the bank, right? But I think when they are taking money from the lenders, they have to pay more interests. The lenders are taking, or they're charging very high interest rates. And not only that, they also manipulate their accounts. Their accounts means accounts of the people who are lending money from them. Because remember one thing, people who are working in the unorganized sector mostly uneducated. They're illiterate. They don't really know what is going on. So these lenders are taking full advantage of them, and sometimes they manipulate the accounts as well. Even if they have paid, maybe they have written that it's not yet paid or something else. So this is how they manipulate accounts. Then another way how they get exploited is that, the owners or the employers, they force the farmers to work at a very low wages. As we remember, there is no rules and regulations, so they will make them work, but they will pay them very low wages. The farmers have no say here because they do not have any choice. So that is why for whatever wage that the owners or the employers are asking them to work, they have to work for that. So, and these farmers taking full advantage of this situation, they don't normally make them work at low wages. Then farmers compelled to depend on them, because in many parts of the country banks are not available. Now you see why the farmers had to depend on the lenders, or why the farmers had to work even for such a low wages. Is because in many parts of the country, in India, the banks are not available. So they cannot normally go there and take the loan from the banks. So this is one problem that they face in the rural areas. So that is why they do not have they have to look to these lenders only for their help. So taking the advantage, the lenders or the owners or the employers, they take full advantage of the situation and exploit them. Now, even if the bank is available, what is happening here is that they cannot fulfill the requirements of the bank, such as collateral, etc. You see, bank may be there in the village as well, but what is happening here is they cannot go and get the loan from the bank, because if you go to the bank to get the loan, you have to fulfill certain requirements, and these uneducated, illiterate, poor farmers may not be able to fulfill the requirements, and that is the reason why even if the banks are there, they cannot go there, but they go and get the money from the lenders. Here we are talking about the collateral. You can see it's there in your book also. They cannot fulfill the collateral. Now, if you talk about the collateral, what is collateral? Okay, it is a security for repayment of a loan to be forfeited in the event of default. Let me say it again. What is collateral? You can look it in the dictionary as well. Security for repayment of a loan to be forfeited in the event of default. Means to say that it is a kind of a security. Say supposing, see even here, okay, even if I want to take a loan from the bank, then I need to, give a security. Means like supposing if I cannot pay the loan in the coming days, then I have to have something so that the bank can take that instead of the money that I paid back. Okay, if I cannot pay back. But what is happening here is that the farmers, they are very poor and they don't have anything to give as a security. Okay, so this kind of security for repayment of a loan to be forfeited in the event of default, that is called collateral. Say supposing I think like if I take the loan, I may have to show my land as a collateral maybe, or say a car maybe, or some valuables, okay, as a collateral. So in case that I cannot pay the loan that I have taken from the bank, or something happened to me, then the bank has right to claim that security which I have given to the bank as a repayment if I'm in default. So that is called collateral. I hope that you know what is collateral now. And this is the reason why the rural people, especially the farmers, they cannot go to the bank because they do not have, they find it difficult to fulfill the requirements of the banks. So this is one thing. So if we looked at it that, so these are all, they are being economically exploited. The people in the rural areas. See, they are not only exploited economically, also they have to face social discriminations, especially people coming from scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, or backward classes. They are often socially discriminated. They are not allowed to use certain facilities. They are not allowed, to many benefits, etc. So it is not only that they are economically exploited, but socially also they get discriminated. So these are the things that they face, especially in the rural areas. In the urban areas, as I have already said, in urban areas mostly they face the social discrimination. They are not allowed to go to certain places, they are not allowed to use certain facilities, and so on. So these are the kind of discrimination that they face, especially in the urban areas. If not in the rural areas, in the urban areas, those who are working in the unorganized sector. So these are some of the points that you can look into to the question that we have seen earlier. The question being, I have already told you, workers are exploited in the unorganized sector. So you can take down some of the points from here and you can give your answer for that. Now, so you can see that how the people working in the unorganized sector are, discriminated and as well as exploited. So some measure has to be there to protect the workers. Okay, so let us look at that. The measures to protect workers, it is there in your book, you can see that. Number one is the small and marginal farmers need to be given facilities like timely delivery of seeds, agricultural inputs, credit, storage, and marketing outlets. So if all this can be given to the farmers, then to certain extent, we can protect them. The government has to provide them. The government has to provide, especially to the small and marginal farmers. We're not talking about the rich farmers here. We are talking about the small and marginal farmers. They need to be given facilities like timely delivery of seeds, okay? Then agricultural inputs. When we are talking about agricultural inputs, you know what are the machineries required to cultivate the land. like maybe tractors, if they cannot use tractors, but other machines which need to be used in the agricultural lands, so that come under agricultural inputs. Credit, that means money. Then storage, once they have harvested their crops or any agricultural products, they are supposed to be given a storage so that they can store them, and then in the lean seasons they can also sell them. Then also marketing outlets. Marketing outlets means they have to be shown, otherwise just producing is not going to work for them. They have to be also know where to go and sell their products. So marketing outlets, all this has to be all these facilities has to be given to them by the government. That way we can protect the workers. If they have such kind of facilities, then they will not depend entirely on other people. They will not have to go also migrate and work somewhere else. So this is where we can protect the workers. Then number 2, in urban areas, workers should be provided government help for procuring raw materials and marketing their outputs. We have talked about the rural areas, that the marginal and small farmers need to be given facilities. Then in the urban areas, what we can do to protect the workers is that the government should provide them help for procuring raw materials. That means, as we already know that they really don't have the money, so it has to be the government who's coming forward to help them procure the raw materials, to get the raw materials, so that they can start their own business, or they can start their own work, etc. So this is how, as we can see that these days, if you open the channels, especially the news channels, you will see this Usha machines, how it is transforming the lives of the women folk in the rural areas as well as in urban areas. The government is giving subsidy on sewing machines, and they are being taught how to stitch, and this is how they're running their families. So this is you can see that sewing machine is also a raw material, and it is being provided by the government, okay, on subsidized rates, and also helping them, sending the people to teach them how to stitch. So this is how we can see transformation of some of the households in the village, even in urban areas. So government should help for procuring raw materials and also marketing their outputs. Marketing their output means whatever that they're producing, you know, they should be collected from them and it should be sold. Not by them, but by the government or by some NGOs maybe. So it can be done like that, and the money whichever is being they will pay the people who are already producing, and this is how we can protect the workers. So this is all about the classification of economy or employment conditions, organized and unorganized sector. So this is for today, boys and girls. We will see in the next class. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good night, and then also take care of yourselves and be safe.